All right, you saw our update on the currency market. The cedi going for 12 cedi 70 pesos to the dollar as it stands right now. Well, the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, LC Ado-Awaji, has indicated that the depreciation of the cedi and inflation are temporary. She believes a successful implementation of the yet-to-be approved International Monetary Fund program would help restore the country's economy. She was speaking at the 21st Annual Chief Executive Officers Conference for Rural and Community Banks in Ho in the Volta region.
The conference provided a common platform for chief executive officers of the community and rural banks to brainstorm, build their capacity and share knowledge to enhance service delivery. It was themed Positioning Rural Banking at the Center of Financial Services Delivery in Ghana, the Role of Stakeholders. Addressing the conference, the Managing Director of ARB Apex Bank, Alex Kwesi Ewia, detailed that the bank would soon introduce digital systems to close the gap between the banked and unbanked.
I believe firmly that with the advent of digitalization and the growth in financial technology solutions, we must fully embrace the digital revolution by deploying the right products and services to fill this yawning gap in our RCB subsector. We at ARB Apex Bank are confident that we can close this gap through digital solutions such as the agency banking, mobile banking, and the internet banking project, which will soon be implemented. We have completed the bidding process and received no objection from the World Bank. The Ministry of Finance and the service providers will soon sign the contract for work to begin. I would like to assure that as soon as contracts are signed, full implementation of this important World Bank and Government of Ghana supported project would commence in earnest.
The second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Mrs. LC Ado-Awaji, announced that the Finance Ministry and the outfit would support the upgrading of the ARB Apex Bank's e-banking platform. She also described the cedi depreciation and inflation as temporary and warned against speculative figures.
The economic environment, globally and domestically, is challenging, but we will overcome this. The Bank of Ghana is working closely with the Ministry of Finance and other key stakeholders to conclude discussions with the IMF towards IMF support for an economic reform program that would help to transform our economy. We need all hands on deck as we work out all of these issues so that we can put our economy back on track after the significant shocks from the pandemic, Ukraine, and other global developments, such as high inflation and high interest rates in advanced economies. We at the Bank of Ghana are confident about the outlook of our economy. The current high inflation and cedi depreciation are temporary, and we must avoid speculative behavior that only works against attaining stability sooner.
The board chair of ARB Apex Bank, Dr. Tony Obin, advocated the transfer of Assembly's common funds through community and rural banks.
In where I am the chairman of the board, there's no commercial bank there. The only bank is Amenfima Rural Bank. Yet, the common fund has to travel somewhere else. But the district assembly has to come to the rural bank for support when they need. So I have always said that where technicalities will permit, the rural banks must be allowed to handle the common fund because we are capable of doing that.
The 25th Annual CEOs Conference saw capacity building in topics related to effective management and growth of community and rural banks. Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews. Ho.
All right, so the central bank there assuring the cedi depreciation, rising inflation, just temporary. But listen to this next warning from the Institute for Energy Security, which is warning of widespread shortage of petroleum products across the country in no time. It says the rapid fall in the value of the local currency, which is causing a shortage of dollars in the system, is also eroding the working capital of bulk oil distributors. Now, Nana Mwesi is Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, joins me on Zoom to explain further how critical is this situation, Nana?
Well, good afternoon to you, Daryl, to your viewers as well. To the extent that the bulk distribution companies are struggling to get the required amount of dollars to import these commodities, being the diesel, petrol, LPG, and the others, becomes a cause for concern because we are basically importing countries, and there is these commodities are procured in dollar terms. If you don't have the dollars, then of course you cannot import. So this is one of the reasons for which it informed our decision to forewarn, so that we plan against any shortage that may occur. Also, we're concerned about the erosion of the capital used by these importers and the oil marketing companies to go about their business. If you have less of your cash that you use last year against this year, then of course you are not able to bring in the needed volume that ordinarily you have brought. And so that also becomes a cause for concern. And so we are just giving the indication out clear to government to plan so we avert such a situation.
Do something about this, because as it stands, the government does not have a solution to the city's free fall.
Well, that's become quite worrying. That's why we say that we shouldn't just be worried about rising price of fuel, but more concerned about a possible shortage of the commodity on the market. We expect government to find possible ways to manage the free fall of the Ghanaian city, because it's impacting negatively on the business of these importers and the oil marketing companies. For the international price, of course, we cannot count on BOSS to give us any strategic fuel stock to support any supply or international price risk. So our best bet is to get government to manage the free fall of the Ghanaian city.
Right, and if some way, somehow, we are able to avoid this shortage and fix our city problems, we have to deal with prices going up because of the recent decision by OPEC to cut down on oil production, right?
Exactly so. We pray that we don't have any form of shortage on the market, because that is quite serious than to have rising prices. Last March, we did give such an indication, and a month later, we had pockets of shortages on the Ghanaian market across the country. We don't want to see that, but we should still be concerned about rising prices, because it impacts on transportation costs, it has impact on cost of production, it affects negatively your disposable income as a Ghanaian or consumer. So we are still concerned. Yes, OPEC is seeking to cut back on production, and when it happens, it means that the diesel, the petrol that we get out of crude oil will be in short supply as well. Then price on the international market could go up. Again, if we get the Russian-Ukraine war intensified, then of course it will impact on natural gas flow, and consumers around the world will be diverting to other form of products. And other product that come really into mind is LPG and the diesel for purpose of heating. All this situation will drive up price on international markets, and that will also impact on the local market as well. So we are still concerned about dynamics on the international market, even as we are seeking to find a way, or we are still frustrated with managing our own city against the greenback.
Thank you so much for joining us and pointing out this to us. Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Mwesi VII, speaking to us on a possible shortage of fuel because of the free fall of the city. Thank you. You're watching The Marketplace. Now, administrative activities on the campus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, have been disrupted by the ongoing industrial action of labor groups. The indefinite strike by 4 unions in the public universities took effect from Monday. Now, the action is to demand better conditions of service. Lab FM's Mona Lisa Frimpong has more in this report.
The various unions in public universities want the government to settle outstanding online teaching support allowance and non-payroll allowances. George Anson is president of the Senior Staff Association, KNUST chapter.
We can't take it because it is part of our condition of service. And the fuel allowance, the off-campus and the vehicle maintenance allowance use one formula. And that formula is the ex-pump price of fuel. So once you increase one, it affects everything. This is what has caused. There have been meetings, several meetings that we start with government for them to restore the increment that they have removed. But all to no avail.
The unions suspended an earlier threat to strike after meeting with the National Labour Commission. But the unions insist the government has not met its side of the bargain. Charles Arthur is president of the Tertiary and Educational Workers Union, KNUST chapter.
Especially concerning the car vehicle maintenance allowance. We have gone to Labour Commission. The Labour Commission has directed that we should go back and sit. And the government side, Fair Wage, accepted that it's something that they have done, it's wrong. And therefore, Labour Commission requested that we should sit down for payment plan. Giving us 14th, that's the last week, Friday, and today. But 14th, when we met, government position has changed drastically that it is not going to pay anything. And the interpretation of even the Labour Commission letter is even completely different. They are interpreting it completely different. So to this end, the Labour think that it's unfair on the part of the government, and we think the only remedy available for us is to strike.
Leaders of the various unions fear the impact the industrial action may have on the administrative activities on the university campus.
So you see, most people think that when students are in session, school is in session, that is when we go on strike and it makes impact. But that is not the truth, because when students vacate, we still work, and there are some of the administrative works that we do that people don't even see that we do. One is admissions.
It's a concerted effort. You understand? It's a concerted strike, so it will affect everything that the university do. So on our part, Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana, TEWGH, for us, when you go to the university library, the security, the maintenance, part of the hospital, and part of the offices of the university, even the vice chancellors of the registrar's office, our members are there. And the withdrawal of all these members will affect the running of that particular system in the university. Security is not going to work, and of course we all know the implications of if security is not at work, its attendant consequence. We need not to see it for public interest. You understand? Equally, the drivers are not also moving. If the drivers are not moving, then what happened? You understand? It's over. And then one major area is the sanitary. The sanitary is not going anywhere. So our refuse and then the gutters and other things are all choked. Until and unless we come back.
For JoyNews, Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
Well, speak of agitations, the largest trading community in Ghana, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, has announced it is closing down shops beginning tomorrow in protest of the harsh economic conditions. My colleague Samuel Kojo-Brace is at a press conference organized by the union, joins me with some more. Samuel, what has Guta been saying?
Okay, so we're here at the Accra International Conference Center. That's where the Guta is meeting the Council of State to discuss their issues, to see how government can intervene and to prevent this, what some people are calling a calamity in waiting, because thousands of traders will be closing their shops to customers from tomorrow, and they make us understand that they will be opening on Monday. But I've heard some people who tell me that they are even willing to close their stores till further notice. They want to do it more than a week. And I have one woman here whom I heard tell her friends that she is willing to close down for a month. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, sir.
Now, you were saying that you are willing to close your store for a month. Has it gotten to that point that you want to close your shop and keep your goods in there for a month?
Yes, please. Why? Because you go to the markets, you don't sell anything. And the way the dollar is rising, you need to purge the dollar with your goods. So it's like every blessed day you need to add something to your product. And this has caused the markets very slow. They are not buying. You go to the market and the whole shop, you can't even get 500 Ghana cedis, which is very, very bad. Because I take the 500, I'll buy fuel, I have to feed my children, and I have nothing else. I have workers, about 10 workers that I'm working with. And I pay them most like 10,000 Ghana a month. I don't know where I'll get the money. And they need to be paid. They have to eat. We have to live. Now we are draining. The dollar is draining us. The duty, the dollar, it is draining us. I have goods that have been supplied from China, and I purged with 8 cedis. Now I don't know how I'm going to pay. I don't know how I'm going to pay. It's only God who intervene. We are pleading. We are pleading on our elders, our presidents should come to our aid. I don't even feel like going to the shop. I feel like closing. I have discussed with my workers that I think we need to close the shop because we don't sell anything. And we take transport and I buy fuel. It is really killing us. So we beg, you should come into our aid. We know it is hard for the whole world. The inflation is not only for Ghana, but our own is draining us. It is killing us. Please, we are pleading. We are pleading. We are ready to close our shop from tomorrow, till further notice. Me, I don't even mind if we will sit home for the next 1 month and this thing will resolve.
But how are you going to feed if it's for a month?
The little we have, we will feed with our family. Because you go, you don't buy anything. You buy fuel, and now the fuel is also rising. So it's better you keep the fuel money and then feed with your family. I think that one would do better. So we are pleading. We are pleading with our elders. We need help. We are dying. We are dying. We need help, please.
How do you expect your closure to resolve the issues around inflation and the depreciation?
What I will say is that, you know, sometimes if we sit there, we don't do anything, everybody assumes that it is okay with us. So the thing that we think we can do to help and let the president head something that the traders are dying, they need to do something. We don't know how, but we know that they are capable of doing something to resolve this problem. Even if it's not to our fully satisfaction, at least when we are able to find the dollar to be stabilized, I think it will rather help us. Because the way it's going, last week it was 12 cedis, yesterday it was 13, today it's 13.5. We don't know till the end of the week, we don't know what will happen. And it's draining, it is really draining. Our capital has really, we don't know what to do. We are pleading that they should come to our aid. Thank you very much.
Today, there is a meeting between you and the Council of State, which is currently underway. Yes. What is your expectation, or what do you expect to come out of this particular meeting? I heard you and your folks talk so much about what's happening in there. What do you expect to hear or see?
We are expecting that, number one, the purging of the duty, they will resolve that for us. And not the purging of using this very current rate to purge it, but the previous one, that will also help us. And then for the currency too, we want to see something, because when the dollar starts coming down, we will see it. We will see that when there's a lot of noise that they are bringing some and stuff, people that they bought their dollar to keep, they will bring it out. And the way it was rising, it will also come down like that. And I think it will help us. But even if they say it, we are still insisting that tomorrow we are closing our shop. And so we've seen that the dollar is coming down, the duty has been purged, everything that we're asking for has been done before we come and open our shop.
What's your name?
My name is Jacqueline Oblim.
Okay, so that's a GUTA member there who says that she is willing to close down her shop from tomorrow until further notice because things are not good for her. I should say that I've seen some of the Council of State members here. I've seen E.T. Mensah. A lot of them are in there having a chat with GUTA to find out how they can get members or GUTA to rescind the decision to close down shops. But as you heard from her and several of the traders here, they are not willing to listen to any plea than to close their shops and to have their concerns being addressed by government. I'm trying my best to get some of the executives from inside the hall to come and tell us exactly what is being told them in there. We'll still try our best together, but we could hear some applause of a sort coming in from the hall, which probably indicates that there's some sort of agreement between the GUTA members and the Council of State. We don't really know what is happening, but the applause has even extended into the lobby here. So we're all expectant of what exactly is causing this applause. Is it that there's been some agreement between leadership and by extension members of GUTA and the Council of State? We are yet to know, but whatever be the case, would ensure that viewers of Joy News do get to know exactly what is coming up here.
All right, Samuel Kujo-Brace with that update from the Accra International Conference Center. So, as we know it, GUTA, the executives of GUTA in a meeting with the Council of State, we had the applause here. Is a signal of an agreement that has been reached. Remember that GUTA engaged the Council of State earlier, more than a month ago, when they wanted to protest the fall of the city, and then they were convinced not to go on a strike. Now, there's another meeting, there's an applause. We don't know what the outcome is. But as Kujo-Brace says, we'll keep you posted once we hear anything. A quick one before we go. The Deputy Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Dana Asunoba Dapa, has underscored the need for the general public to be sensitized on their human rights in a line of work. According to her, educating the public on their rights and privileges is the first step to combating indecent labor and other business-related human rights violations. She was speaking at the first Business and Human Rights Forum organized by the African Union.
The Business and Human Rights Forum is a platform organized by the African Union in collaboration with relevant UN agencies and other development partners to promote sustainable development rights on the continent. Speaking at the forum, the Deputy Minister for Justice and Attorney General, Honorable Dina Asunoba Dapa, said educating the public on their rights and privileges is the first step in combating indecent labor and other business-related human rights challenges. She further stated that a national action plan which will ensure a sustainable working environment is expected to be launched by the close of the year.
I keep saying these rights have been there even from the time our 1990 Constitution came into force. So we need to be aware. Secondly, as businesses, we need to be aware that now employers, customers are aware. So it starts as a trigger chain for everyone, I dare say. Once we become aware of our rights, we insist and demand of businesses to do the needful. Now, once businesses also become aware of this advocacy for business and human rights, then they will order their affairs accordingly. Of course, some have said that even within your supply chain, you should not be passive as a business. You should be active in ensuring that even your suppliers, you are not getting goods or products, raw materials from places where there is forced labor, where there is child labor, etc. So for me, the greatest step that needs to be taken is a sensitization and awareness by you and I. And then it goes all the way to businesses, and then there is enforcement at the higher level.
The Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Ambassador Bankole Adeoye, highlighted the need for stakeholder engagement, saying such engagement will enrich the AU draft policy on business and human rights.
Let me at the outset underscore the importance of this event by indicating that is not only timely but also appropriate in the sense that it will contribute to the effort of the African Union to popularize and build support for the AU draft policy on business and human rights, and to draw support for its adoption by AU member states.
And that's business on Marketplace for now. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow.